Hey everybody, what's up? It's Nick here, and in today's video I'm going to be answering a question that was left on my last video, which says, is it possible, can you make a tutorial on making a glowing lower third? So yes, I can. So today I'm going to be showing you guys the basics of making a glowing lower third inside of Adobe After Effects. So if you're not aware, in this video I used a glowing lower third to display the links to websites on the screen. And so if I just play that back, I'll show you what we're going to be trying to emulate here. As you can see, it comes up and it's kind of glowing, and I assumed what he meant by the question was those optical flares that you guys saw right there. So I'm going to show you how to make a lower third using some optical flares inside of After Effects. Now, the preferred method to do this would be using a plugin by videocopilot.net called Optical Flares. But as you can see, it is quite expensive, $124 for the Optical Flares plugin, and then if you want another bundle of flares, that's another $140. I don't have the money to buy that what was that? But I don't have the money to buy that right now, and I want to use my money on more important things is what I'm trying to say. God, I can't talk today. But anyway, I'm going to show you some free methods or some much cheaper methods that you can use for this. So first of all, I want you guys to go back and watch this video, which was talking about exporting with a transparent background, because I'm going to be talking about some things that I referenced in this video. So if you guys just want to catch up to speed with some of the stuff that I'm talking about, I recommend watching this video that I posted so that way you guys aren't completely lost. So to download, or I'm sorry, to make a lower third, I have used quite a bunch of programs, as you're seeing right here. I've used After Effects, Photoshop, and Illustrator to make all of this. So the first thing that you want to do is to get some optical flares. So I've put a link in the description to some places where you can buy some cheap optical flares, as well as the lower thirds that I've used in my videos. So as you can see here, I have a little lower thirds pack that I purchased, and this is the lower third that I used in that previous video, so I'll link these down there. And if you want to use some optical flares, here is a good link with a pack of 12 optical flares that you can only purchase for $8, and you can use that in your videos. And here's another pack of optical flares that I thought I would just let you guys know. But we're going to be using some free optical flares that I downloaded off of a person from YouTube. So I went to this link on YouTube. I literally just typed in free optical flares pack, and this guy's put together a package of some pretty nice optical flares. You can download them by just clicking download here, and those are the optical flares that I'm going to be using. So when I downloaded them, they came up to this folder, and the only problem that I had with them is that they were WMV files, so all I had to do was just to convert them to MP4 files using any standard video converter. But other than that, now we have enough material to get started using this. So as I said before, we're going to be using After Effects and Photoshop, and I did use Illustrator, but that's optional, and I'll provide the link to all of these little sample images that I made in the video's description as well, so that you can download my full project. So I'm going to open this up in Photoshop, and this is the little design for the lower third that I made. So as you can see here, it's a simple lower third with the little blue lines, a little thing that says sample text, and my logo, and these are all of the images that we're going to be using. And I grouped them over here to the text layer, the logo layer, and then I have a thing for the shape, and then I have the little black background, and I also put in a little white background and a screenshot of my desktop for a little reference right here. And all I did with that is I saved that, and I saved it as a PSD file, and I opened that PSD file up with After Effects. So what I recommend first of all is go into Photoshop and make your little lower third design that you're seeing right here, and then export it as a PSD file. So I'm just going to quit out of Photoshop right now, and I'm going to load up my lower third After Effects project that I have right here. Okay, so that took a little while to load up, and I realized that I just had it open already, so I'm not really on the ball today, but this is my After Effects project with my little lower third. And as you can see right here, this is everything I've done to it, and I have it glowing with a little optical flare right there. So how did I do that with the optical flare? Well, first of all, I imported my little lower third image as its own composition. So what I did was, if I just go back here and I take my lower third PSD and I drag that in, it'll come up with a dialog box that says right here, you want to go to Import, Kind, and choose to Composition and click OK. and that will open up the lower third image as its own composition. And as you can see here, we have all of the layers that we had in our Photoshop document. So I have the white background, the screenshot of my desktop, the black shape, the shape imported itself as a pre-comp, my logo, and the sample text. And all you want to do now is animate this like you would any normal lower third. So if you go back to that video that I showed you, I showed the basics of keyframing with After Effects. So you just use some keyframes and some motion blur, and then that will allow you to animate it normally. Now I'm not going to show you the process of that because it's obviously very lengthy, but if I just go to something like the shape and go to transform, as you can see I have a few keyframes right here, and they're basically motion keyframes that make everything go in, and I just made them move in from off screen, and I also added motion blur to all of those layers. So once you have your lower third image and you have it animated in the way that you want to, now it's time to add in the little glowing graphic right here, the optical flare. So here are my two optical flare layers. Now I have one optical flare for when the lower third comes in, and one optical flare for when the lower third goes out right here. They're both in the same position, I just moved them in time as you're seeing right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete both of those optical flare layers, and I'm going to drag in any of these flares right here. So I think flare 9 was the one that I used. So this is flare 9 from that pack on YouTube that I downloaded. So I'm just going to take that, I'm going to drag it in above the blue, and as you can see, it imports itself as a black solid layer with the lower third on it right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this and I'm going to fit it to where my lower third should start, and I'm going to position it to where I want the glow. And me screencasting this isn't quite helping. I think I'm going to turn off motion blur so that we can see that. So now we have our lower third in place, and I think it's timed very well. So now we want to make it so that we get rid of all of the black background. So to do this, we're going to go right over to here to the blending mode, and we're going to change that to screen. As you can see now, the lower third will come in and start glowing. Now I can obviously position that, change the size, and move it in time a little bit. So now it comes in and it's glowing. So I'm just going to, move it to start right around here. So now it comes in and now it glows. And so now let's just let's quickly RAM preview that just to show you guys what it looks like. And my sound just nearly gave me a heart attack right there. So let's just let's RAM preview. And as you can see, it's glowing and it's coming in, and that looks kind of funny. So that's all you need to do. You need to get the optical flare positioned to where you want it to, and you need to, if you have a black background, set it to screen, then just position it the way you want to, and it should look like it's glowing. Now, place one in the beginning and one at the end if you want to, depending on the style of your lower third, and that's pretty much it. Now again, I said it's much easier to do this if you have the Optical Flares plugin from Video Copilot, but I don't have that, and you can also download some of these lower thirds that I have here, or you can find your own on the internet whenever you want to. Now, the only problem I had with this method that I'm doing right here that I thought I would just show you guys is if I hide my desktop background, as you can see, if I want to export this just as the alpha, it still has the black background in from the alpha right here. And I think that just has something to do with the lower third image that I'm using. Since I'm using one with a pre-keyed black background, it should show up like this, so I can't just export the lower third normally. But if I want to import this over my project, I would just put the clip that I want to use in my project into this After Effects preset and then export that. So that's just something to note if you're using this project that I'll link in the description. But any other lower third like that you're using, such as the Optical Flares or any of these other ones, might be different. I haven't tried any of these other ones, but it might be different. So this wasn't really a formal tutorial, but I hope this answered your question down here. That's pretty much the basics of it. And if you want to learn a little bit more in detail and learn exactly what I did, I'll put a link in the description for my After Effects project and my Photoshop project so that you can see what I did to get my look done. And that's pretty much it. So I hope this helped you out. And I apologize for not being able to talk right today. So thank you a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video. Goodbye.